and then to the right of the square brackets we can use required length, and that should give us the number of characters. And we can also do similar for the maximum characters as well. And I'll copy this one and paste it below. And also label must be at most, and then instead of min length we'll use max length. And I've still got the error, but of course we're in standalone component world, and in order to make use of these form controls, then I of course need to use the reactive forms module inside here, and of course that fixes the issue inside the component. Okay, so that's what we need for our text inputs, and that should suffice. And we take all of this nasty looking HTML and we confine it into a single component, and because we can use our component with its selector, and then we just need to provide the label and the type and the control, and it should be much easier to create and use components and get validation without needing to do too much. So let's go back to our register component templates, and we'll just pick on the username first. So let's remove this, and we're going to use our app-text-inputs, and I'll use the quick fix to bring in the text input components, and then inside the first angle bracket we'll just provide what the input needs. So we need to pass it the form control, and we need to use that as form control in square brackets, and then we're going to say register form.controls, and then in square brackets we specify username. And I think people have been complaining about this for quite some time now, is the form control is missing the following properties, and the solution to get around this is to surround our register form controls username in parentheses, and then before the parentheses we use $ and any. And unfortunately that's the only way I found to get around that particular TypeScript error. And then we'll give this a label, and we can just specify username as the label there. And again we get a complaint here because username does not exist on type register component. We just need to surround this in single quotes inside the double quotes so it goes across as a string. And what should happen is if we go back to our register form, we should still have the same functionality as we did before, but I obviously haven't updated the label or the placeholder inside the text input components. Let's go and take a look at that. And yeah, this label. So we just need to use the interpolation and specify label there as well. Okay, so let's go back and take a look. And if I click on register, then we've got the username property. If I click into it and click out of it, our validation is still working. And if I start typing into it, our form value is being updated even though we're using our shared text input component, and we've got our validation inside there as well. And our form status is tracking this, so if I do have valid inputs for our other ones, then we should still have a valid form at the end of it, and we do. So let's go back and update the other inputs as well and clean up what we have inside our register component form. So let's copy this one, and I'll just paste it below 2 more times, and we will have, for the second one, this is going to be for the password, and we'll set the label to be password, and then we just need to give this one a type because it is a password field, and specify this in single quotes as password. And then I'll do the same for the confirm password. I'll give this the type and swap username for confirm password, and set the control to be confirm password. And then we can remove all of the rest of this code before the button and delete that. And if I try and reformat, then Okay, still going too far off to the right, so I'll just bring down the label in all of these. Okay, that's a bit more presentable. And we should not have lost any functionality, and we've got an easier way to use our different inputs. And I'll find a way to tidy these up a bit more. I think that looks a bit better if they're below like so. Okay. So if we go and take a look at our register form, we should still have all the same functionality we had before, including the confirm password stuff as well, but not, because we also need to add the extra validator for that. So let's go back to the text input component, and we need another condition for the confirm password validator. So let's just copy this one and paste it below. And where we've got the has error, we need to check for is matching. And I'll just give it a message and say passwords do not match. Okay, so now if we go back and test again, I'll click on register. Just add anything for the username. I'll say test in the password, test in confirm password. And if I click out, I see the error. Let's just refresh the page and try that one more time. So I'll give a password test, and okay, so when I click out, I do see the correct error. And if I say TEST, the validator goes away. Add an extra character, that fails. If I go to the password and add an extra character, then we get the is matching validator as well. Okay, so now we've got the reusable input in place. What we'll take a look at next is take a look at the form builder service that we get from Angular.